The Earth is not traveling around the Sun at a speed of 66,666 miles per hour. Here we see, as the train is moving forward, its smoke is being left behind. On the other hand, we observe the smoke of this volcano on the video below rising straight up, proving that Earth is not moving. Globe believers will say that in space there is nothing, so the smoke rises straight up. How then they explain the fact that we see trails left behind in shooting stars? Exactly. Earth does not move.
What up, fam? Let's talk about rocket launches and how they actually don't go to space, but they just go up and then back down into the water. Globers, it's okay. So to actually go to the alleged space, you would need orbital trajectory, which uses the radius number of the globe, which we've clearly debunked many times. Therefore, they're not going into space and the model is wrong. So the only thing that's actually been to space is your imagination. There's no rockets going up in space. There's not a Tesla car floating up there. That's all fake, but we understand that you guys still believe that because you think the Earth is a spinning, flying, tilted, wobbling cartoon ball. It's probably just a coincidence that whenever these rockets shoot off, they're always near water. I wonder why. So here's a list of all the launch sites in the world, and just a coincidence that the ones that claim to go to orbit are basically all near water. Almost all of them. Because they're not going to space, fam. They're literally going in the water and then they're going and picking them up. And you guys still believe it. So if you were to actually shoot a rocket straight up, which would be the closest and fastest way to get to alleged space, it's going to hit a barrier, it's going to hit a firmament, just like we've been saying, and you're going to see something like this, where it looks like it's scraping against some sort of barrier, and then there's remains behind it which look like water. Again, just like we've been saying for years. Here's another one. This is why they will not shoot rockets straight up. So like I said, the only thing that's going to space is your imagination.
If the Earth is flat, why don't the water fall off the edge? Let me tell you why. But first, Antarctica, which no one is allowed to independently explore due to the Antarctic Treaty, it's actually an ice wall that surrounds the entire Earth. Because we all know how water acts. It needs a container and always finds its level. Hence why they call it sea level. And by the way, this is the map all pilots use. Just take a look at the UN flag. It's literally the flat earth map. Proverbs 8:27 verse 32. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. The Hebrew word for compass is hug, which means circle or boundary. When he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment. So Antarctica is actually a boundary keeping all the water in. Just take a look at these photos.
I used to think we lived on a globe. I literally thought that. But after researching, I had to admit to myself that I was wrong. It's not a globe. That's not good information. There's no evidence for that. There's just propaganda. So I was brave enough and mature enough to say, okay, I was wrong. It's not a globe. And I studied, and all the evidence lines up to prove the Earth is flat. It really is flat. If you're not mature enough to admit that you were wrong, then you're never going to be able to switch to something correct. But as soon as you abandon the globe model, which is a lie, you will have eyes to see. I changed my opinion because I was wrong. Are you willing to do that? Have you had a chance to watch the great flat earth debate between Dean Odell and Pastor Greg Locke? It's very worth it. It's on YouTube now.
Hey y'all, I want to jump on here for a minute. And this, I don't know if y'all have heard or not about the Greg Locke debate with that guy. And you know, I watched it. I've got different creators that I watch on YouTube and stuff, and I'm going to link this guy's video on my YouTube. I'm going to put this on YouTube, and I'm going to do one on TikTok. But these Now You See TV guys, they do a real good job, and I'm going to link their video, and because I don't want to steal their stuff. But I want to talk about from the addiction aspect, you know, how we can learn. You know, it's all about these behavioral patterns and how we can learn. This is a perfect. I could talk for days on this interview, this flat earth debate with Greg Locke and that other guy. And, you don't have to be an addict to have the characteristics and the manipulation and things that we, struggle with that addicts do. There's normal people in everyday life that never touch a drug, and, they struggle with these kind of things. And I always say that drug addiction is not the problem. That's the physical aspect. Using drugs is the physical aspect of addiction. There's so much more to it. And part of the psychological, which goes off into spiritual, is the self-centeredness of it. The desire to be right. A drug addict will argue with you even if they know they're wrong. They'll still argue. When you back them into a corner, and you see this on this debate, when you back a drug addict into a corner and try to get them to, rectify something or, explain something or justify it or whatever, they'll jump and say, well, what about over here? What about this over here? It's just like boxing. You got to pull them back in that corner. And that's one of the big deals when you're dealing with a drug addict and, you're trying to help somebody, or, we ourselves, we can look at that. And I struggle with it. Everybody does. And if we got to be honest with ourselves, it's the easiest person in the world to lie to is myself. I lie to myself before I lie to anybody else. But that's a real big thing. And you can see how this guy, he'll back him into a corner. And like in one situation, in one part of it, he tells him, well, you're talking about angels and spiritual stuff, and I'm talking about physical stuff, so that's not okay. Well, then 5 minutes later, Greg Locke does the same thing. He says, well, I'm talking about Bible, you're talking about this. And he tries to make the analogy. You just have to watch it all to see what I'm talking about. But you can just see that this guy, Greg Locke, is a master manipulator. It's my opinion. This is my opinion. It's not fact, entertainment purposes only. Greg Locke, I think, is a manipulator, and he's a power-hungry freak. And at the end of the day, he'll say little things like it's about God, it's about God. But at the end of the day, when you get emotional, every one of our emotions are based off our selfishness. We're happy when we get what we want. We're angry when we don't get what we want. We're sad when we don't get what we want. Anxiety is prolonged fear that we're not going to get what we want. So you can look at this, take what I just said, go watch that video and think about what I'm saying. When you get angry like that, you're not angry because the person's wrong. You're angry because they're not agreeing with what you say. And that's the self-centeredness part of it. Anytime you're wanting anything, and selfishness and self-centeredness is not just not sharing your lunch money or not sharing your food. Okay, if I believe something and somebody else disagrees with me and I get mad at them because they disagree with me, I'm putting myself in God's place. I'm saying that I am right and you have to believe what I believe. That's where that anger comes from. And look at yourself and the last time you got mad at somebody and see, that's that first step. I'm powerless over people, places, and things. You could disagree with me. You don't have to agree with me. You know what I mean? I don't care. And that's okay. We can still get along. But, you can tell that this guy, he really gets mad because this guy puts him down. And then he does exactly what drug addicts do. He interrupts him right when he starts making a good point. Greg Locke will interrupt him. And he'll throw some scripture in there to emotionally arouse the crowd to cheer for him. It's just total manipulation from the get-go, my opinion, allegedly. It's total manipulation from the get-go, man. Just go watch the video. I'm going to link the guy's video. I don't know how to really do all that yet, and I'm learning, but I'm going to link the Now You See TV. He does a great breakdown of it, and go watch it.
So we all know who this man is, right? I'll send you down a little rabbit trail. His wife, Victoria, guess who her father worked for? Would you guess Warner Von Braun and NASA? Enjoy that. Go and read the article, Joel Osteen, Illuminati, High Royal Bloodline, and this article is filled with some great stuff. And did you know that Warner Von Braun was the 21st great-grandson of King Edward I, which, of course, makes him an Illuminati, High Royal Bloodline, and makes him related to Joel Osteen. And in this 42-second audio clip from the pic above, at the time when they asked Victoria about her father working for NASA, look at their expressions. They definitely look busted. Not to send you on more stuff, but this article is just too good. Because Britney Spears is the 24th great-grandchild, and Ellen DeGeneres is the 22nd great-grandchild of King Edward. Enjoy reading this. And again, just type in Joel Osteen, Illuminati, High Royal Bloodline. And if Google doesn't pull it up, definitely use Yandex.
Yo, what's good? I want all of the scientists, like the people that understand like space and math to treat me like I'm extremely stupid right now, because when it comes to the subject, I really am. I'm not a rocket scientist. However, I just was like reading about the Discover satellite, and it's like it's past the moon, between the Earth and the sun. I think it said it weighed like 1,200 pounds. My question is like, what's the math to figure out how, I mean, if we're moving through space so freaking fast and we're going around the sun and the sun is going through the universe, and what's the math? What is even the math to figure out how to send that satellite just past the moon, just far enough to be able to get it to stay in an orbit around the Earth, but not be sucked in by the sun? And like, how do you do that? And if you have enough fuel when you get it out there to correct stop it from going past where you want it to go, what's the math of it not being left behind? And what's the math of, I guess, like, how do you explain how it stays in its orbit when it's only 1,200 pounds? It's not rotating, wouldn't it need to be rotating like everything that's rotating? I don't know. And it's, where does the energy come from? And please don't tell me that it's solar panels, because I've worked with solar panels, and I don't know if you have solar panels that are strong enough to create enough energy to keep 1,200 pounds moving hundreds of thousands of miles per hour, or whatever the speed is, thousands of miles per hour. I would absolutely love to know like what kind of solar panel that is. I'm stupid. I don't know why that works. So can you explain it to me like in a way that makes sense, that the math is like proven, or like, can you write it up? Because it's not making sense to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. Have a good day.
Is NASA rooted in Satanism? Well, I was just scrolling around one day and I realized that NASA has done something on July 16th every year since the Apollo 11 mission, and maybe even before then. But you ever wonder that T- thing you hear before the rocket launches? Maybe it's just Satan minus the T, and that's NASA? And I'm sure you've seen all the snake memes out there, but check this out. I've been searching to find where July 16th has any significance other than the Apollo missions, and guess what I found? It's World Snake Day. Not National Snake Day, but World Snake Day, where people get together and worship and celebrate the serpent. And look at that logo. Oh yeah, it's a globe with a satanic snake wrapped around it. Yeah, this symbol is rooted in the occult and Freemasonry and Luciferianism and all that stuff. Hey, how'd this get in here? So do you think NASA's paying homage to this slithery serpent? Get out of here! The celebration of reptiles. It don't look good, NASA, when all these things add up. Ooh, those slithery snakes. I'm sure after seeing all this, you're asking yourself the same question.
Have you guys ever wondered why the sky's blue? Of course you have. Everybody has. Every kid's asked that question at some point. And no, it's not this dumb explanation. This doesn't even make any sense, does it? Let's be honest. No, actually, the Bible tells us very clearly why the sky's blue. Let's go to the book of Isaiah, chapter 66. This is what the Lord says. Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. So everybody knows the earth is God's footstool. But what does he mean by that? Well, let's take a look at Exodus 24:10. There they saw the God of Israel. Under his feet seemed to be a surface of brilliant blue lapis lazuli, as clear as the sky itself. How about that? And I'll do you one better. Let's check out Ezekiel chapter 1. Now, if you guys are familiar with this chapter, it's very strange. Ezekiel has a vision of heaven and sees 4 very strange looking angels. But I don't want to talk about them today. I can do that in a future video if you guys like. But first, let's focus on what's above these angels. As they stood with wings lowered, a voice spoke from beyond the crystal surface above them. Above this surface was something that looked like a throne made of blue lapis lazuli, and on this throne high above was a figure whose appearance resembled a man. So God's feet literally rest on the sky or the heaven above us. And lapis means stone and lazuli means sky or heaven. So the hard fixed firmament above us is made of a clear blue stone called lapis lazuli. And that's why the sky is blue. How about that? Pretty cool, right?
The flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was al-Biruni, and he lived from 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also of the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar, known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo. I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific Ocean where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional map maker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.